Hi everyone, welcome back to the Casual Watch Review channel. I've got a pretty interesting upload today, I think. I have got in my possession a fake Seiko Turtle watch here, and look, even from afar it looks pretty convincing. Now, did I set off to buy a fake Seiko watch? No, I didn't. Was I surprised when one turned up? Not entirely surprised. I bought this on Wish, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen advertised on Facebook. There's certainly a lot of YouTubers that go on and buy outfits and things like that because the prices just seem unreal. They had these Seiko watches for $65 or around the $65 mark, and they used real pictures of Seiko watches but Japanese versions. I was of two minds about whether to buy it. I thought for $65, if it's a real Seiko, then we've got a great video on how to buy a bargain Seiko Turtle. And if for any reason it turns up and it's fake, then we can, which it is, then we can do a video on how to spot a fake Seiko. So that's what we'll do in this episode. We'll go through all of the differences. I've got my Turtle on here. I've modified my Turtle, but we'll go through that as we're comparing them because the cases are slightly different. A little caveat before we start this, I absolutely do not condone buying fake watches, whether it's a fake $300 Seiko like this or a fake Rolex. I've never before this owned a fake watch, with the one exception where I got a fake Rolex as a gift and that promptly went in the bin. I think it's awful that people are faking designs. So after we finish these uploads, I'm going to dispose of this watch. I'm not going to give it away or sell it or anything like that. Anyways, let's flip the camera around and dive straight in. So here we are in the studio. Just for reference, here is my actual Turtle, my beautiful ultimate Turtle as we call it. If anybody's interested in how we did the mods, etc. on this, I'll leave a link to that video in the description down below, or if you watch to the end, I'll leave it in the end credits. So here's the ominous packaging that this watch came in. So I ordered it from a website called Wish, and this is what arrived in the post. As you can tell, it's not the original Seiko box, of course. It also said in the listing that it wouldn't come in the original box, so immediately from that I wasn't amazed that it didn't come in the original Seiko box. What was also included, which was a bit weird, was this plastic bead bracelet here, which is a bit weird. I'm not sure why they added that in a velvet case. And then they also had the strap adjustment tool as well here, like all plastic, but I mean, it might come in useful. So the watch came in this black box. Let's just open it up quickly. Bit of foam in the way. And here we have the watch. As you can tell, it's a fake of the paddy version of this watch. So let me just throw up a picture of this watch really should look like. And if you were just to glance this on somebody's wrist, I think you would struggle if you just gave it a moment's glance to work out whether this was a fake or not. But it certainly is a fake, and we'll go through all of the reasons why I think it's a fake. But it comes on this bracelet. I was joking with a few people that I wonder if the bracelet's actually more high quality than the Seiko included one, because I know Seiko gets a bit of a bad rap for their bracelets sometimes. So straight off, it doesn't look too dissimilar than a Turtle. When you take a closer look, and we'll zoom in a second, you can tell that the case is a little bit off. Also, the dial, when you take a close up look of it, is a dead giveaway. What I thought would be funny at the end as well is if I take this strap off, take the bracelet off, and then work out whether it'll fit on my Turtle. So before I do that, let's just take all of the plastic off this watch. So there's all the plastic off front and back. You can see that even the buckle here, the clasp, is signed Seiko, which is interesting as well. I wonder if this might even come from the same factory where they make the Seiko bracelets. Probably not. But one thing, it has got solid end links on this bracelet. Let's just show a quick wrist shot before we start taking this thing apart. Here it is. Here's what the fake looks like on the wrist. And there they are side by side. So you can just see what a wrist comparison would look like. See, they're not that dissimilar. Also, the bezel action is a lot tighter on here. You can tell straight away that it's not a Seiko bezel when you twist this one. So here are the two turtles side by side. The first thing that you notice is the crown is completely different than on the Seiko. It doesn't have that same level of recess that the Seiko has. Also, it's a completely different finish. This has a more knurled finish onto it. And if you can see the bezel on here, this one is very closely trying to mimic the Seiko bezel with the two lines of dots, I think you would call it here, but certainly the grip on here that has the split center line like it does on the Seiko. They're certainly trying to mimic the Seiko. The fake one also has the drilled lug similar to the actual turtle on here. As I mentioned before, the bezel, it is free flowing, but it's not as smooth as the Seiko watch. It does have a loom pip as well. While we're at it, let's do a quick loom shot of them both compared together. I'm just going to speed this up now. My real Seiko does have aftermarket hands on it, but it does have similar loom to what Seiko use. So now we can see after 3.5 minutes just how bad the fake Seiko's loom really is. Let's look at the back now and see if the fake watch gets any better. Now the key differences on the back, well, first of all, they've done a very good job of the tsunami wave. But you can tell from the back that the Seiko that's etched into the back is not in line with the tsunami wave, whereas on a real turtle it would be. And the other thing is the logo and the other writing on here looks like it's almost etched or stamped in, whereas on a real turtle of this version it's more like a laser engraving. Now zooming into the dials here, this is where it's a dead giveaway that this is a fake watch. When you have the cases side by side, the cases are slightly different shaped. If you see, this is more oval shaped, this case here. But if we close up on the dial now, this is where you can really tell. They have made some effort to give this dial a sunburst pattern, but the paddy version of this, the dial is different in texture. The indices, they might look applied, but they're not applied. When you take a closer look up on it here on this macro, you'll see that instead of this being an applied marker that then has loom applied to it, what they've done, I think, is they've stamped or embossed the dial to make these parts raised, so they're not applied to the dial. They're stamped from the underside, and then they put loom on top of it to make it look like there's multiple layers of loom that's been applied. Also, the hands very flat. They almost look, this doesn't look like it's painted. They're very flat in terms of the hands that typically come on a turtle. On a normal turtle, the hands, they have a more of a 3D appearance. Also, the stamping on the dial, although it looks convincing from afar, is far from up to Seiko's standards. The printing is not as detailed, but it does have a movement that has the date and the day in it. What we'll do now is we're actually going to open the watch up and we'll take a real good close look at that movement. Okay, so here we can see I've got the case back off. Now, I thought that I might find a TMI movement, but this looks completely unbranded. I haven't touched this movement, but there is a fingerprint on, so whoever assembled this in the factory put their mark on it. This looks to be completely unbranded, this movement, so I'm wondering whether it's a seagull movement or something along those lines. I think I certainly need to do more research in it. But the good thing is that this movement is clearly not a Seiko movement. It doesn't have any of the Seiko markings on it that you would find in a turtle, for example. So this is another option that if you are unsure about whether your turtle is real or not, then open the back up on here. And it also had this retention ring. This is also a dead giveaway. You wouldn't see this on a normal turtle. One thing I just thought I'd do just for amusement at the end is see whether the fake Seiko watch strap will fit on my current turtle. This is an aftermarket bracelet on my Seiko at the moment. It's an Uncle Seiko razor wire bracelet, one of the most comfortable metal bracelets I have ever owned on a watch. Now, let's try the fake's bracelet on. Wow, well, that was a surprise. I was not expecting that at all to fit, but the bracelet fits right onto the turtle. There's an ever so slight gap there, not enough that you can fit a tool down it, but yeah, I mean, that bracelet, it does fit on the turtle. That's amazing. I wonder if this comes from the same factory factory that the real Seiko bracelets come from. That's purely speculation on my part. It has the high polishing there, has the bracelet. I was not expecting that to fit. Like, I'm pretty amazed about that, to be honest. This will be part 1. Let me know if you want me to do a part 2. And then we've got to think of an interesting way to destroy this watch or dispose of it somehow. This was just supposed to be a video for pure entertainment. Please don't go out and buy fake watches. I bought this watch taking a punt that it might be real, but obviously the price was a dead giveaway that it wasn't going to be a real one. But they did use the real images of a Seiko watch on Wish, so I'm sure I could have sent it back to them. And I think in Wish's defense, they're only the middleman for these goods. I think it's other sellers that go on to Wish and actually sell on their behalf. This isn't a slight on them or anything along those lines. This is just a video made for entertainment and my opinion on this watch. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. As always, I appreciate any comments you've got. Love it if you would hit that thumbs up and hit subscribe. And if you've not checked the podcast out, head on over to there. It's longer form content, audio only. As always, really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time on the Casual Watch Review channel. Thanks guys, bye.